My name is Deepak Pandey. I am 99 batch of the Indian Police Service, allotted to Maharashtra cadre. And my present assignment is that of IGP, that is the Inspector General of Police and Joint Managing Director of Maharashtra State Police Housing Corporation. I've been on the board of directors for about 2 years for the Maharashtra State Police Housing Board. And I will just give you a one-line description about my company that I come from, the corporation that I come from. It's a state government private limited company, and it has headquarters in Worli with operations all across the state of Maharashtra. And these are basically, small statistics here. We actually, this corporation used to work on a no profit, no loss basis for a long period of time. Since 2010 onwards, it has been working on the real concept of profit and loss, and that is when this thing of making CSR initiatives has come. So this corporation became profitable only last year, but the profit was not good enough for it to start the CSR initiative. This year, we had a reasonable amount of profit, so we have taken up the CSR initiative. The first thing is to constitute the committee. Basically, the CSR activities, they have been introduced for the first time in this country. I mean, across the globe for the first time in India in 2013, when the Section 135 of the Companies Act 2013 makes it mandatory for every corporation or the company to appoint a CSR committee, that is the Corporate Responsibility Committee, to implement all the CSR policies. And the activities that are to be taken is given in the 7th schedule of the Companies Act 2013. And the notification of Government of India in 2014, it basically gives you the list of the things that are the way you have to go about doing it. So basically, these are the 3 things that every company or the corporation has to take into account while implementing the CSR policies. We may deliberate a lot, we may think about a lot, we may have many ideas, but right now the framework is defined. It has been codified. Only thing is that what further can be codified, that may be the outcome of this conference or this seminar. So this is the CSR committee that has been constituted. I'm a part of that CSR committee. The policy has been formulated, and that has been formally adopted by the board of directors. I'm also part of the board. And that's what everybody has been talking about up till now, that CSR activity is not charity. It's not something that you are doling out alms. It's not something like there is a beggar on the street and you are just giving 2 rotis or dal or chapati or something like that. It's something that is a very thoughtful action. Why? First of all, we have to, let me first of all give you this. This is a kind of an activity that has been taken by our corporation, in which a report has been prepared by the present department from the Tata Institute of Social Studies regarding those women prisoners who have children which are toddlers. That means they require the mother's attention all the time, maybe because of breastfeeding or maybe other allied activities. Because of that, they are supposed to be near the mother. And therefore, there has to be a provision for those children so that in the event of mother going to the jail, the children are not deprived of that. These kind of cases become very important when the woman is responsible or is in some way accomplice in murdering the husband. So what happens that the husband is murdered, wife is the accused, she goes to the jail, and the children are left homeless, or there is nobody to look after them. Now, the government can't make a policy on that, because that would be like that government is giving you an option that, yes, you can do the crime and we'll take care of the children. So that can't be a possibility. So that's what our topic is, that what is beyond the governance. I mean, this thing cannot be a part of the governance. This can also be taken up by many other corporate bodies and companies, that where the government just can't step in, or it is beyond the jurisdiction of the government to step in, look on for those social areas, and we can implement that. And for us, it is not just a one-year policy. It is something to be done all across the state of Maharashtra over a period of time, and we will try to achieve a level of proficiency in this and then stabilize it from there on. So there has to be a thought process that has to go into making a CSR initiative and to implement that to implement it from the starting point. It cannot be charity at all. We are not doing charity. It is a long-felt need of the society, and because we have used our knowledge, because we work in the police, we work also in the prison department. We know of these issues, and we knew that the government can't step in. So when we got the opportunity to be in the corporation, we are utilizing that knowledge and that much of expertise to generate those areas where we can intervene. Similar is expected, like when this thing was given. See, why, first of all, the topic that has been given is that responsible CSR. Why CSR needs to be responsible? The basic question is, are we supposed to be responsible, or we can continue to be irresponsible? See, responsibility comes from the fact that first and foremost, that everybody has talked about, that we need to give the society back. The industry that you're running, MIDC provides water. The many villages, in fact, in Maharashtra, there are a lot of villages, lot of areas where there is no water. But MIDC makes it very hard to give you water at the cost of many other things. It is ethical. It is binding on, till now it is only ethical. It has not become kind of a legal thing for you to provide CSR thing, because that 2% cap on the 3-year average annual income is kind of a recommendation. It has been codified. It is in the Section 135 of the Companies Act, but there is no penal provision to that. So till now, it is ethical for you to, implement CSR by at least giving out 2% of the profit that is for the 3 years average. In that, you have to have kind of, if you want to achieve it in a very detailed way, in a very pragmatic way, and in a way that, going to create an impact on the society, you have to, first of all, start with the assessment part of it. What is my company's strategy? What is my company's role? And in what way I can associate with the CSR activity so as to deliver the goods to the people who want it the most. Have you ever thought of why didn't the government ask that whatever is the 2% of your profit, give it to us, we will do that social responsibility part of it? Like, I always thought of, no, that is not a part of the slide, but was it not very easy if the government said, whatever is your profit 3 years, 2%, you take it out, give it to us, we will do some kind of a social security, create some kind of social security fund and do the CSR activities ourselves? Why the government wants it to be done by the corporate bodies, the companies? There we need to think. Because the government does not have that kind of a capacity. And government, first of all, government thinks that you will pursue the CSR activities, the corporations and the companies will pursue CSR activities and initiatives the way they pursue their own business. That means the amount of expertise, the amount of effort, the amount of manpower, the amount of passion that is there in doing the business, the same will be replicated for CSR activities. So if CSR activity is taken up as a charity or something like that just we have to do, then probably we are missing out on what the government wants. So it is ethical on your part to at least align yourself with what the government thinks. And to do that, it's a very detailed exercise. First of all, you have to do the assessment. Where do I intervene? It is not that one fine morning and we see something and we, go about doing it. And once you do the assessment, then it has to be, taken up by your CSR committee must be equipped with those many people who are going to advise the CSR committee on what are the various possibilities, and then take it up to the board and get it approved, and then implement it, and then monitor it, and then pursue it for n number of years that is required to reach that destination. So that is the amount of dedication and discipline that the government expects from corporate bodies to do the CSR activity. It's not a piecemeal thing. I mean, you are not supposed to do CSR activities in a piecemeal way, like holding an event, holding a sponsoring something like that. It's not a piecemeal thing. It needs to have an integrated approach. And the most important thing is that what is the final impact? Are we able to create that kind of an impact which is going for the betterment of the society? If the impact is there, then probably we are through. But as Justice Joseph Kurian earlier said, how CSR is making mockery of what we are, the way it is being implemented is making mockery of what we great ideas and the great ideals that we are talking about. Justice Kurian, he was talking about the least, the left, the lost. We basically cater to that. The one who are least, left, lost. That means basically marginalized, basically underdeveloped, mainly lagging behind. And I'll just show you how the CSR funding is going on. This is the CSR spending in the country right now. So there is a clear-cut correlation between GDP to CSR. If your state is having a bigger GDP, then companies are more likely to invest in your state. Similarly, within the state, if a particular district has a bigger GDP, the companies are going to spend more CSR fund in that. So this is totally antithesis to what the government envisaged. The government wants that wherever we are lacking, we are not being able to do enough because of whatever bureaucratic hurdles, because of whatever the red tapeism, or because of very rigid rules. You are not bound by that, and you have the expertise of a very well-tuned organization, because CSR activities are meant for certain very big companies or those who are making reasonable amount of profit, reasonably big amount of profit. So you have that expertise, you can use that to overcome whatever the hurdles the government faces, and then do those substantial social work or social development so as to take the country further. But what we are doing, we are finding the easy way out. That if a company which is having headquarters in Mumbai and having operations in Bihar, the company is earning by having the market sector in those underprivileged or the Bimaru states or those areas where the GDP is not high, and getting the money from there and investing in those areas, those places, those states, where already there is enough amount of spending. So the kind of equitable distribution of wealth or bringing about, because CSR is meant to be spent in India only, it is very clear in that. So we want to bring about a social development in this country by spending, asking the corporates to use that amount, profit amount, 2%, to bring about a social development. But we are not doing that. We are doing, wherever it is already well off, whatever, if a child has got 10 chocolates, give him the 11th. The one who doesn't have any chocolates, don't give that at all. So this is the kind of an imbalance, and this is the kind of an irresponsible attitude towards CSR that we are seeing here. And for me, the way out is like in the, Ministry of Corporate Affairs is the one which implements, oversees basically all the corporations and the companies. There needs to be a mechanism, like in the insurance sector, whatever the insurance companies, they make policies, it is vetted and approved by an agency called IRDA, that is Insurance Regulatory and Development Agency. Obviously, because the number of companies are too big, and all the CSR policies can't be vetted by an organization, so it has to be kind of a loosely made kind of an organization which does not all the time vet your CSR programs or policies very closely, but at least at the end of it, it should come out with some kind of a thing that these are the companies which are the highest grossers in spending in backward areas or the backward districts of the country. And these are the companies which do not spend in backward areas or backward districts at all. Some kind of index, some kind of a representation, so that at least this can be brought in the domain of the public, that which company is doing what, how much, for the upliftment of the weaker parts of the country, where the economically and socially weaker people or the underprivileged, senior citizens, handicapped, the sports people, I mean, it is given in the 7th schedule. What are the activities you can take up? And that too, in what areas that you are taking up. If that can be done, then it will be a fantastic thing. So a certain amount of codification, certain amount of a small, very loose kind of a regulatory authority, because if we don't do that, then what the government will say that the corporate are not able to do their corporate social responsibility properly. So not only will they take away those 2%, they will say 8% we will charge you more, because the 2% concession was given because we thought that you're going to come up with the manpower and the expertise and the flexibility and the skillfulness that you have. So amount of about 10% will the government will take away. So this thing has to be viewed very seriously, and I'm very happy that Institute of Directors have brought up this topic, knowing very well that in the years to come, right now it is an ethical issue, and very soon it may become a legal issue as well. I will give you an example because it's a cricket-loving nation. What exactly is a good benchmark? Like recently concluded test series between India and Australia, there is a batsman called Chiteswar Pujara. He had the highest aggregate runs, he had the best average, and also he was the most impactful player, because whenever he made centuries, India either won or did not lose. At least if we can't, in comparing that with the CSR sector, that is the corporate social responsibility sector, even if we cannot have a great aggregate, even if we can't have a great average, at least our policies or our initiatives should create an impact. Because without the impact, it is basically defeating the whole purpose for which it has been created. So I would like to end my speech with this, and thank you very much for patient listening.